Japan at Federation World Cup?
Well, there's a few things. First of all, getting guys like Siya 100%, match ready to try and get through 80 minutes. There's a few other guys, guys like Franz staying really slowly got into the mix, getting him to go full 80 if he has to. There's other guys who have got injury needles which you have to get through. There's some game-specific things which you have to rectify, like the scrums were better, line outs we have to improve a little bit. I thought the breakdowns were really good. So there's different things in our game-specific, then there's personnel stuff which you have to get right. So a lot of boxes that you still have to tick. With the Japan game, obviously help us to achieve that. But also the Japan game can also, in terms of injuries, be a little bit of a worry, because I think we're the last team that plays the last warm-up game before the actual tournament starts. So if we do get injuries there, it will be very close to the tournament. So I guess that's one bit of a worry, which is in the back of my head.
How far are you from identifying the 15 or I guess 23 for that first game against the All Blacks, and how much will that differ from the team that plays Japan?
I think the two teams that will play against Japan and against the All Blacks, barring injury, will be pretty much the same team. Apart from somebody really now in the Japanese game against them play really bad or lose form or get an injury, the plan is to play in form strongest possible team against Japan to get some rhythm to play the All Blacks. Then there's a nice 2-week break. But obviously, nobody can be complacent and just breeze through that game and not play one and expect to play the next game again. So I'm not really sure what that team is going to look like. But we'll only announce that on Sunday for it, so they can still train hard.
Rassie, speaking of the All Blacks, what did you make of their World Cup squad? There were some interesting admissions there.
Yeah, I look at their squad, and as a coach, I think what their coach is also going through, it's tough to select a World Cup squad, especially if you've got the players who've got niggling injuries. And especially if you've got players with over 30 in your squad. I've just experienced it previously that in a World Cup, you get a lot of players who's over 30, you really have to manage your squad well, especially in short turnaround times. And I look at their squad age, there's quite a few who's over 30, and then you have a guy like Metallic in there, which is such an important player for them, and I guess he's going to be fit somewhere in the tournament. So, we had issues like that with a guy like Siya, which we had to get fit. And if he didn't play against Argentina and he didn't get through that game, I would have wanted to take him to the World Cup, because where do you play him actually fit? So I think they have a really strong squad. They're taking there. If they try to get through the games and they're getting match fit, and those players over 30 don't have those leading injuries, how they're going to experience squad, and they'll be the team to beat at the World Cup.
Rassie, in terms of potential Yankees, is a game changer, is a guy you bring on and change his outcome. What's the plan for him during this World Cup? Because he's played his way into the World Cup.
Yes, definitely. I think if you go and look at previous World Cups, we had a function, I don't know, I think they showed 1995 and then 2007, the highlights. I think we all must remember World Cups is not this spectacular thing where it's 45, 35, it's 15, 12. It's close games. And you will definitely play a big role. But also, your 9-10 combination, I don't think there's a World Cup ever been won with a flyer that's younger than 24 years old. I think every single flyer was 25 years old. So that pivotal role, 9 and 10, is very important. So with having Kruger's there and Herschel and Faf, all three of them will play. But Faf is the first choice at this stage. And who will start, and then Herschel knows that, and Kruger's knows that. But Herschel will play a big role, and he makes impact when he comes on. But Faf is first choice.
Rassie, can you please explain a little bit on Felix Jones' involvement with the coaching staff? I know the statement said that he's coming on as a defense consultant. And how tempted were you to get a like replacement for Strace? And I know the statement said that the players were comfortable with the attacking structure that was introduced by Strace. So it's a little bit on Felix Jones and how tempted were you to get a like for also.
Yeah, I was going to apologize in the way I phrased the press. It's my fault there. he came across as a defense consultant. He's actually got to analyze opposition defense structure. So his job will be to look at opposition defense, how do they defend, and where's their weaknesses in their defense, where we can actually attack. So when I discussed that with the players in Bloemfontein, we discussed and said, listen guys, we felt our attacking structures are in place, and anyway the last 2 test matches between myself and Sticks, we anyway coached the attack with the players. So the players just felt if we have somebody who especially knows the Northern Hemisphere teams really well, Ireland, Scotland, those kind of guys who we're going to play, hopefully when we get to quarterfinals, semi-finals, England, get somebody who can analyze their defensive systems and we can make the plans ourselves. So another pair of eyes, obviously. Then I worked with him at Munster for 2 years. He was that attacking coach there. We had 83% win record and we really attacked well. So he's also a good attack coach anyway. And I know him. We don't have to convince him of how we want to play those kind of things, and he'll really slot him well with the boys. So that was the thinking behind that.
Siya, one can imagine that the Rassie Erasmus era has been pretty much a build-up to the World Cup. So everything that you guys have been doing under the coach has been just focused on Japan 2019. And I mean, if you look at your guys' performance in the Rugby Championship as well and building up to that success, it builds up to what you guys are going to do up in Japan. But do you then reset when you get to Japan and forget about what you guys have done? Not necessarily forget, but just not really focus on what you guys have done under Rassie? Or do you take all of that build-up and all that preparation and use that as some sort of motivation perhaps, or something that you can use to learn from when you go down for the World Cup?
I think, yeah, we're definitely going to build on what we've worked on, but we know as a team that everything we've achieved until now, you know, we have to start fresh when we get to Japan, you know, and a World Cup is completely a different tournament, you know. Every single team actually pitches up, and we've learned that obviously in Japan, so we will have to make sure we pitch up each and every single time. And regarding our system and everything, we're building on it. Obviously, we're not going to start fresh, and coach might add 1 or 2 new things now, every now and then, but everything else that we worked on, we'll definitely be building on it.
See, a lot of talk surrounding your captaincy and how proud you are and how excited you are, but just how are you feeling playing-wise, and how much confidence did you actually gain from quite a busy 50 minutes against Argentina?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. To be honest, like Coach said, I was really worried about the time. I was under a lot of pressure. I mean, obviously for myself and watching the other guys playing. But the great thing is that I was with the squad until they left on tour. Coach kept me with the rest of the team, so I was watching the plays. I was in meetings, so I was quite involved. But it was just a waiting period, seeing how the knee holds up, and it held up very well. And yeah, I was obviously not the best, but I was happy with the way I played against Argentina. But like Coach said, and I also saw like I need a little bit more. And these past couple of weeks have been helping training wise. And we've got next week and the week after 2 more weeks, and I think I'll get to where I need to be.
Rassie, just quickly. I know you said at the squad announcement that you would look at a couple of Currie Cup games, and I know it's the semi-finals this weekend. How close are you to finalizing the waiting list for guys that might break down the World Cup?
Yeah, look, the guys who was with us, you know, like Lizo and Thomas and Marvin and Renard Elstead and Marcel, unfortunately had that injury, and then Andre Estreisen. All of those guys, you know, I'm missing one, but all of those guys are with us. They got kitted, you know.
Dylan,
yeah, Dylan, those guys have been kitted, you know. So they're definitely on standby if we do get an injury, and they know our plays and those kind of things. So they're ready if we do get an injury. And we've got 48 hours when we're there to get those guys on the plane and get them there. But there's other positions where I want to see a guy like Damien Willems. Unfortunately, they are finished, but I think he's going to go on loan. Of course, on that side, if he gets proper game time and he gets through another 1 or 2 games, he might come on standby. You know, so at this stage, those 5-6 guys are definitely there, but there's still a few others. Skara, if Skara can get some more game time somewhere, he'll be on standby for us. So it'll be a evolving list.
Siya, lots been said this week, a lot of excitement this week. But have you taken a moment to just let it sink in and about how big this moment is as well?
Yeah, to be honest, we've been quite busy this week and working really hard, and obviously with all that's happening, I know I've just been trying to focus on the rugby, which is the main thing for us. But I think I'll probably have a moment in the plane tomorrow and get on the plane when I can relax, and I think I'll take it in. I'm not a man that I really like focusing on my game and making sure that speaks louder than anything else, and that's the most important thing. But yeah, it is big, and it is a huge honor for all of us as a team. And I think tomorrow when we have time off and you can sit by myself in the plane, I'll think of definitely have a moment and think about it.
Yeah, just going back to your leadership role, I mean, how much does it ease you up knowing very well that you've got an army behind you who are just have this kind of like same leadership capabilities? It's a period where Rassie kind of just gave the captaincy to some of the other players during this time. So knowing this time, yes, you're the captain, but you've got an army behind you. How much does that ease you up knowing you've got the quality behind you, an army that has the same leadership qualities?
Yeah, it gives me a lot of confidence. I think I said that the first conference when coach named me as captain. And I know the guys are always willing to help, and the most important thing to us is the team, to make sure that we do well. And for me, I have no ego whatsoever, and when someone is better at a place than me, I allow them to do that. And the same it is the coaching as well. Whenever we are working on whatever plays and stuff, or coach has a plan and player come up with something else, we'll say, okay, cool, let's change it, let's make that work. So we have that kind of spirit in the team and culture where we make use of one another's strong points. So I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, and anybody, and there's a lot of leaders in the team, and anybody who leads, and we're willing to back each other. The biggest thing for us is to make sure that we perform, and we make sure that we encourage each other to be ourselves on the field, and the guys will definitely help me.
So yeah, just on that idea of having an army behind you and having that support structure, and what you mentioned on Monday about the coach telling you to just focus on your game, you can't run away from the fact that the title of captaincy is with you, and that scrutiny will be a lot on you and less on perhaps a Beast and Dawarila, for example. Do you think this competition will define your career as a leader, will define your career as a rugby player? Do you think that this is where people will look at you and see whether or not Siya is what the world has always thought Siya to be, whatever that might be?
Oh, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. But obviously, I'm gonna have to. If it comes to tight calls, obviously I'm gonna have to make those calls. And I know for a fact the coach will back me. And I mean, if I need advice, I'll speak to the group. But I know I'll have to answer afterwards. But at the end of the day, yeah, I will definitely have to make the calls. But I'm not scared of that. I mean, that's why I was put in this position in the first place.
Rassie, there's a lot of focus on the All Blacks game. Can you just give us a word on some of the other teams?
Yeah, I think it's one of the good question. I think the All Blacks game is hell of important, but I think the Italy game is a slippery one, which if you obviously want to win the All Black game, but if you lose the Italy game, I think you're really in trouble. And we've seen in the past, we have lost against Italy in the past. If you think about, I think 2 years ago. So and they've pushed teams really close for the last couple of years. And I actually think that's a really important pool game to think about that way, because I think Canada and Namibia, I think we should beat them. And I think Italy is the slippery one where I think they're sitting waiting for us. I think they plan to upset us. I think if I were them, I'll be looking at our pool thinking, okay, New Zealand will be tough to beat. They think they can beat Canada, they can beat Namibia. If they want to go through, I'll go really hard for South Africa. So I think that will be the pool game where it's able target. So that might be our slippery one which we will have to sort out.
Just pre-tournament, that's also on Liam's question. Japan also might pose quite a stiff challenge, particularly if you say that you're aiming to play something
Yes.
close to your stronger side for the Japan game.
Yeah.
And Jamie Jokes has come out to say that he wants to play an unstructured and a very attacking game. How worried are you about Japan? And of course, the past World Cup will be lost to you.
No, without a doubt. Look, we've got that tag around our neck. We will have to accept it. We lost against them the last time we played them. And look, the fact is, it's half of our management team flew over this morning, and one of our logistic members flew over on Tuesday already. And everybody has told us about the humidity out there and how slippery the ball is and how tough it is to handle the ball there. And a lot of our players have played in Japan, luckily, and Matthew Parents also have coached in Japan. And everybody is telling us how tough it is to play there at this time of the year. And now, already JJ, the guys flew over on Tuesday, still it's unbelievably humid and hot and sweaty, and we also simulated this week of training with the wet ball. And I think it's going to be a massive challenge because the way they play is that they make it unstructured and loose, and the scrums is not a contest, ball is in and out, there's not a lot of line outs, it's almost like a touch rugby game that they play, which obviously doesn't suit us. We've got big forwards, we like the confrontation of getting into mauls, getting into scrums, we like to build through phases, we're a structured team, so it's going to be a nice test for us in terms of how we can handle that. 2 weeks before we play the All Blacks, because the All Blacks also sometimes like to loosen it up. So, and then having a referee who's going to be under pressure. I think it's Nick Berry who's going to referee that game in front of a home crowd who's hosting the tournament. So no, big pressure and a big match against a team where they think they can beat us on that specific day. It's going to be a good challenge.
This is a question for you both. What do you think the Springboks' biggest strength is going into this tournament?
Obviously, I think our pack has done well, obviously, scrum-wise, and obviously with the line-outs also pretty well. So set piece, so like you said now, especially playing against Japan in the first game, we know they want to keep it unstructured, and we're very good in structure. So we have to stop the fact that we mustn't get carried away and want to play that game. I think that's how we lost it the last time, because I was part of that team. I felt like we bought into what they wanted to do, and we wanted to play within our normal mauling, get a penalty maul, get your 3 points, and I think that's something we have to respect them and make, because they really do deserve respect. And yeah, we're just gonna have to keep to our structures and stick to our systems.
I see just that.
And you too.
Yeah, I was training the team. I think the specific squad is, I'm not going to talk game plan wise, I'm going to talk squad wise. I've been part of a few World Cup squads. I think there's 31 fit guys, all of them are fit, conditioned well, medically fit, and all of them can go a full 80. I think Siya is probably the guy that will get there now for that first test match. All 31 of them are training, none of them are sitting out. I think we can lift the intensity, and we can go toe to toe with conditioning wise and intensity wise with the top teams in the world. And I think that will always give you a chance. Where I felt in the past, we were a team that dropped off the last 10-15 minutes against the All Blacks or teams like that. And I think the moment you've got a team that can do that, then it's a matter of getting the tactics right. And I think we're slowly getting the tactics right. But because this is a fit, youngish team who's all fit and ready to go, I think that's our strength at this stage.
Rassie, daar's nou weer verwikkeling gewees in ewens saak. Mense wat uitgekom het en gesê het hy was vroeër die dag ook betrokke by seiljag by 'n groot wisseling en so. Het julle enigstens kommunikasie gehad van die polisie, is daar klagte gelê teen hom, en is jy ook bang dat dit dalk 'n afleiding sal wees vir Afrikaans wat hy dalk sal nie terugvlieg uit Japan nie?
Can he answer that in English first?
Yes, please.
Okay, English first, because I think that question probably.
But you understood the question?
Yes.
I wanted to give you an update anyway here, but look, firstly what I say is, from my side, is look at the players, one of our players. Obviously there's a player-coach relationship, and there's trust between the coach and the player. And I just want to give you that point of view. So when something like that happens, I just want to get that off my chest. And because there's a lot of things said on social media, not just about you, but about a lot of players we have to handle daily. A lot of things get said and emails get thrown to us about a lot of players which you guys sometimes don't even know, which we just ignore because sometimes it's just nonsense. Obviously, this specific one is now become a real big thing, but as I said Monday in the release, I have to believe what the player tells me because we've got a relationship, and until something else are proven differently, only then we can act. And the update I can give you, which I've only heard this morning, is that there was a complaint at the Human Rights Commission, and Eben and Eugene, player welfare, player affairs managers worked in there this afternoon. They're in discussion with the Human Rights Commission on exactly what the claim is. But there's no police or any other thing that we've heard. We just heard that there's a complaint at the Human Rights Commission. It is actually there this afternoon. But I have no update because it's actually happening right now.
Rassie, just quickly on the composition of the squad. Was it a little bit easier to pick the squad, especially the forwards, given the fact that Peter Stephen excelled very well in the blindside role over the last 18 months, as opposed to probably the first sort of year that he played blindside? Did that give you a little bit more room to sort of blood a guy like Ergie, to give him that international experience where he can now sort of could be considered world class, and you've got 4 really good options at lock?
Yes, I think probably some of you are going to laugh when I say this to you, but with the squad we have currently, even a guy like Scout Brits can, and some of the games where we can manage our players a little bit, because think about it, I'll get you answer now on the locks, but on some turnarounds it's only 4 or 5 days in the World Cup where you can't have Siya playing and Peter Steph playing and Dwayne playing, so you have to rest somewhere, and you don't want to put them on the bench even for the next game. So the composition of the squad is like that some games they can totally rest. So a guy like Sculptor might even play 8-man in some of the games, so that's why we went with four locks, and I think the way Peter Steph played definitely helped us. He can even move to lock sometimes, but because he plays so well at flank, it would be stupid to move him to lock now, and because Ergie played so well when he went to lock, it would just be a stupid idea. But if we do get a lot of injuries now, you can anytime move him to lock Peter Steph, because he gives you the same output, which he doesn't, but we don't have to do it at this stage.
Okay, so we go to Afrikaans quickly, if you want.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, where do we start? You can ask the question in English, it's fine, and then Rassie will respond in Afrikaans. That's okay?
Okay, I'll start. So Rassie in Afrikaans, basically your thoughts this week, you guys are ready to go to get onto that plane?
Ja, die week is, ons het baie goeders gedoen hierdie week wat nie rugby goeders was nie. Ons het net 2 oefeninge gehad, 2 goeie oefeninge gehad, lekker intense oefeninge gehad, sonder enige beserings wat great is. Dat baie ander goeders gedoen wat ek moet sê baie goed gereël was en was lekker, was goeie vibe in al die funksies wat ons gedoen, van die sponsors, media, alles was reg goed georganiseer. So die week het 'n bietjie lank begin voel en ons sien baie uit op die vliegtuig gewees. Die manne is opgewonde. Ons is lekker senuweeagtig op, jy weet, ons weet die rugby championship is nou verby, ons het nog geniet, dit was nou lekker, ons het so 'n bietjie krediet gekry vir dit, maar ons is môre op die vliegtuig en dan wag Japan vir ons daar, so almal weer die tag wat ons almal nek het van ons het laaste jaar verloor en almal wil ons moet goed doen in die wêreldbeker, nou so ons is lekker senuweeagtig, maar ons beplanning is in plek en ons wil nou by veld kom en gaan begin speel, jy weet, ons wil nou die vliegtuig klim.
En Evans.
Evans altyd, ja, ek wil net vinnig herhaal wat ek vir die ander mense gesê het, in terme van Eben, wil ek net sommer in die algemeen sê, daar gebeur soveel kere as 'n Springbok afrigter of as 'n provinsiale afrigter, word daar goeders via e-pos of jou gestuur of iets gesê op social media, partykeer reageer jy nie eers nie, want daar is soveel goeders wat mense baie keer sê oor 'n speler, dat jy nie eers reageer op nie, en hierdie Eben is 'n tipiese voorbeeld, die speler en die coach het mos 'n verhouding, jy weet, hy trust jou en jy trust hom, so elke keer as iemand iets sê, kan jy nie reageer nie, want praat jy in die nonsens aan die ander kant, of is dit die waarheid of nie, En ek ken nie die persoon aan die ander kant nie, so ek gaan altyd die speler eers glo en ek het met iemand gesit en ons 'n storie geluister en dit maak vir my sin en ek glo vir iemand en tot en met daar iets anders verkeerd bewys word gaan nou nie optree nie. En dit was die hele tyd die geval gewees in hierdie week, maar ek het nou vandag gehoor dat alhoewel gister vir iemand daar is 'n klag by die Human Rights Commission ingedien en Eben en Eugene, ons player, fair manager, is vanmiddag by die Human Rights Commission, hulle is in bespreking daar. Ek is presies seker wat gaan daar gebeur, wat bespreek hulle en wat gaan uitkom nie, want hulle is nou weer besig daar en ek het dit eers so rukkie terug gehoor, en dan sal ons seker weer vir julle update gee.
Coach, if you could just also give us the idea behind Felix's appointment and what his role is exactly going to be for the team up in Japan.
Ja, seker. Ja, ek dink ek moet eers om verskoning vra die manier wat ek miskien die bewoording gegee het van Felix se aanstelling. Hy's nie 'n verdedigingsafrigter nie. Hy gaan nie die opponente se verdedigingsstrukture gaan hy vir ons ontleed om ons te kyk waar is hulle swakpunte, veral die noordelike halfrondspanne soos Engeland, Skotland, Ierland wat ons moontlik in die play-offs gaan speel. So hy gaan meer hy gaan nie dieselfde werk as Jock nie doen nie. Hy gaan meer die oppositie se defensive structures analiseer en ek het met hom gewerk by Manchester vir 2 jaar. Ek ken hom goed. Die spelers voel dis wat ons nodig het in die span. So weet ek ken hom. Ek gaan hom hoef te oortuig oor hoe ons oefen nog 'n nuwe paar oë in die span. So ek dink dis iemand wat baie goed gaan skakel in die span.
Thank you very much. Baie dankie.
How you doing?
You never said this with me. You always
Hope tomorrow you missed the next one. Oh, keep it good. Wayne,